He strangled his mother, buried her under a church fire pit, and went back to school like nothing happened. She crashed into a building at 100 miles an hour, dressed as a corpse for Halloween, and called it an accident. This is what happens when teenagers become killers and are forced to face a lifetime behind bars.
He posted selfies in the back of a police car. He asked his mom if she was okay. He pretended demons were chasing him. But Aiden Fucci wasn't the victim. He was the killer, and his victim was just 13. Tristan Bailey was a cheerleader, outgoing, full of energy, and completely unaware of the darkness behind her classmates' smile. On May 9, 2021, Mother's Day, Tristan's parents awoke to find her missing. Security footage from a neighbor's home offered the first clue. At 1:14 a.m., Tristan is seen walking with a boy. At 3:27 a.m., that boy, Aiden Fucci, is seen running back alone. That same morning, her body was found in a retention pond, just blocks from Fucci's home. Back at home, Fucci showed no remorse. He joked in the back of a police car. He posted a Snapchat selfie with the caption, "Hey guys, has anybody seen Tristan lately?" His mom, Crystal Smith, tried to wash the blood out of his jeans. Security cameras caught her scrubbing in the sink, tampering with evidence. Both were arrested. In the interrogation room, it wasn't detectives grilling Aiden. It was his parents.
You know they found this girl, right?
Where?
In our neighborhood. Down our main street.
Is she good?
No,
she's not.
She's dead.
Fucci claimed voices told him to kill. He tried to fake insanity. He cried in his cell, but it was too late. This wasn't mental illness. This was cold-blooded, calculated murder. In court, Tristan's family read letters she had written. They brought her cheer uniform. They demanded justice. Aiden Fucci stood silent. No apology, no explanation. Just a lifeless gaze from a 14-year-old boy who had become a monster.
Mr. Fucci, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristan Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison.
Tristan Bailey's murder shocked a community. But what's even more chilling is how normal Aiden Fucci looked, until the moment he wasn't. She was a 24-year-old math teacher, bright, passionate, the kind of teacher students remembered years later. But on October 22, 2013, Colleen Ritzer walked into the girls' bathroom during her prep period and never came back out. Her killer, one of her own students. Inside the bathroom, he attacked her with the box cutter, slashed her throat, sexually assaulted her, then stuffed her body into a recycling bin. It was broad daylight, at school. Minutes later, cameras show Chisholm struggling to push the now heavy bin through the halls. He passes other teachers and students. No one stops him. He wheels Colleen's body outside, into the woods behind the school. There he leaves her lifeless and half naked, next to a handwritten note that read, "I hate you all."
You will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you.
He didn't do it out of revenge, or desperation, or even anger. Philip Chisholm killed his teacher because he could. A 14-year-old child committed one of the most gruesome crimes in Massachusetts history, and for that, he'll spend decades behind bars until a parole board decides whether the world will ever see him free again. Eddie, it wasn't a robbery. It wasn't revenge. There was no fight, no history, no motive. Just three high school seniors, throwing rocks at passing cars, for fun. But one of those rocks shattered more than a windshield. It shattered a life. A rock the size of a softball, 3 to 5 pounds, crashed through Alexa's windshield. It struck her directly in the face. Her car veered off the road and crashed. When her friend used Find My iPhone to locate her, she found Alexa's lifeless body still in the driver's seat. Nicholas Carroll chick, Joseph Koenig and Zachary Quack were 3 honor roll students. Smart, from good homes, no prior criminal records. In court, 2 of the boys, Quack and Carol Chick, pleaded guilty, hoping for leniency. Koenig, who allegedly threw the fatal rock, has pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial. The Bartell family, broken with grief, is calling for life sentences. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment crime. It was a spontaneous game turned deadly, fueled by boredom, cruelty, and zero regard for human life. Alexa Bartell never saw it coming, and her killers, they may never see the outside world again. One moment of reckless thrill cost a young woman her life, and may now cost 3 teenagers their freedom forever. They were 2 teenage girls in love, but when their relationship was forbidden, they didn't run away. They planned a double murder, and the victims were Holly Harvey's own grandparents. Holly was 15, Sandra was 16. They had been secretly dating, getting high, skipping school, and breaking rules. But after Holly's mother went to prison, she had to move in with her strict grandparents, Carl and Sarah Collier. They had firm rules, curfews, no drugs, and no Sandra. That's when everything began to spiral. On August 1st, 2004, Sandra snuck into Holly's basement bedroom. The next morning, they smoked marijuana, hoping the smell would lure the grandparents downstairs. When Carl and Sarah came to check, the girls attacked. Carl was stabbed while trying to call 911. His glasses were found shattered on the floor. Sarah tried to escape but didn't make it. Both were stabbed more than 15 times. After the murders, Holly and Sandra stole jewelry, cash, and Carl's pickup truck. They drove to a friend's house covered in blood. When asked what happened, Holly calmly said, "We killed my grandparents."
We killed my grandparents.
Police found Carl and Sarah Collier lying in a pool of blood. The girls were arrested a few days later, hiding out at a beach house with strangers. At first, only Sandra showed any remorse. Holly seemed cold and disconnected, but everything changed once they stepped into the courtroom. She planned the brutal murder of her entire family because they disapproved of her boyfriend. Her mother and 2 younger brothers were slaughtered in their sleep with swords and guns. Erin's calm 911 call after the crime and her interrogation footage are chilling. Powerful interviews with her surviving father, who forgave her, have gone viral. Great mix of shocking betrayal, cold planning, and devastating aftermath. In the middle of the night, Erin's boyfriend, Charlie Wilkinson, and his friend broke into the house. They shot her mother and father in their bed. Then they stabbed her 2 younger brothers, ages 8 and 13. After that, they lit the house on fire.
Do you have the weapons in your room with you when they found you?
Just a gun.
So you weren't trying to get away with it?
The gun was to be given to somebody to clean and hide.
Who are you going to give it to?
I can't tell you that. Enough people's lives have been ruined.
You told Terry that. So someone else knew this was going to happen?
And his name has never been mentioned anywhere.
This is 15-year-old Gregory Ramos. He was quiet, smart, and always got good grades. No one ever imagined he'd end up at the center of one of Florida's most shocking teen murder cases. Gregory lived with his mother, 46-year-old Gail Clevenger. She was strict, but she cared. She pushed him to do well in school, checked his grades, and grounded him when he messed up. But on November 2nd, 2018, something snapped.
And where's your emergency?
I just got home, and my house is completely trashed. It looks like someone broke in the side door. My mom's car is here and it's on, and she's not home.
When detectives arrived, something didn't feel right. Nothing valuable had been taken. The back door was wide open, almost like someone wanted it to be found that way. And Gregory, he was way too calm for a kid whose mother had just disappeared. It didn't take long for the truth to come out. Police soon discovered that Gregory had told 2 of his friends that he had killed his own mother.
You didn't kill your mother? No. Okay. So when your buddy says that you told him you killed your mother, he's lying. I'll tell you what happened.
Gregory said the argument started over his bad grades. That night, after his mom went to sleep, he waited until around midnight, then went into her room and strangled her with his bare hands. It took nearly 30 minutes to kill her. Afterward, he put her body in a wheelbarrow, loaded it into her car, and drove to a nearby church. Behind the building, he dug a shallow grave under the fire pit and buried her there. But it didn't end there. Gregory went back home and tried to make it look like a robbery. Later that night, he returned to the church to clean up the burial site, trying to hide any clues he had left behind. At just 15 years old, Gregory Ramos committed one of the most disturbing acts imaginable. Not in rage, not in fear, but in quiet calculation. He'll be eligible for release when he's 60. But for many, no sentence will ever erase what he did to the woman who gave him life. She seemed like a normal high school senior, popular on TikTok, always out at parties, and dating 20-year-old Dominic Russo. But behind Mackenzie Shirilla's perfect image was a darkness waiting to explode. Literally. 30 a.m. on July 31st, 2022, a security camera near an industrial warehouse in Strongsville, Ohio, captured a chilling sight. Mackenzie's Toyota Camry turned onto a desolate road. Nothing unusual at first, but then she floored the gas pedal. The car accelerated to over 100 miles per hour and didn't slow down. Seconds later, it slammed full speed into a brick wall. Inside the vehicle were her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and his friend, Davian Flanagan. Both were killed instantly. Only Mackenzie survived, with minor injuries. Some called it a tragic accident, but investigators weren't convinced. Even more chilling, just days after the crash, Mackenzie was seen at college parties even dressing as a corpse for Halloween. To prosecutors, this wasn't just tasteless. It was evidence of her complete lack of remorse. In court, the families of Dominic and Davian made their pain known.
Ironically, Dom was the most selfless person I know. Mackenzie Shirilla murdered Dom and Davian in cold blood and had already moved on. Kenzie killed Dom over the thought of losing him, and she made Davian collateral damage.
I would like you to give Mackenzie the longest possible sentence.
I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose.
There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davian Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life.
Was it a love-fueled murder? A moment of rage? Or something far colder? Even today, debate rages online. But what's undeniable is that 2 young lives are gone, and the one responsible will spend her future behind bars. She looked like any other teen, braces, blonde hair, and a shy smile. But 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante was hiding something dark. Online, she posted about depression, self-harm, and death. But no one, not her family, her friends, or her teachers, imagined she was capable of murder. On October 21st, 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton disappeared while walking home. It was just a short path through the woods. Her family reported her missing immediately, and police launched a massive search. 2 days later, under police pressure, Alyssa confessed. She had lured Elizabeth into the woods, strangled her, slit her throat, and stabbed her. Then buried her in a grave she had dug days earlier. Elizabeth's mother was heartbroken in court. She called Alyssa a monster and said her daughter had been stolen in the most senseless way possible. Alyssa didn't kill out of anger. She did it because she wanted to feel what it was like. A pre-planned, cold-blooded murder, committed for curiosity. Elizabeth was only 9 years old, and Alyssa was just 15. It was a cold Wednesday night in Fairfield, Iowa. Spanish teacher Nohima Graber had just finished her shift at Fairfield High. As always, she took her evening walk in Chautauqua Park, a routine anyone in town could predict.
She planned the brutal murder
But
of
two
her
of her
entire
students
family
were
because they
watching.
disapproved of her
Graber
boyfriend.
was 66
Her mother and
years
2
old,
younger brothers were
loved by
slaughtered in their
students,
sleep with swords and guns.
respected by peers,
Erin's calm
and utterly
911 call
unaware
after the
that her own
crime
students
and
were
her
planning her
interrogation
murder.
footage are chilling.
Willard Miller
Powerful
had recently
interviews with her
received a
surviving
bad grade
father,
from Graber,
who forgave her,
and he
have gone
wasn't
viral.
happy. He
Great
felt the
mix of
grade was
shocking
unfair.
betrayal,
He
cold
argued
planning,
with her,
and devastating
but she
aftermath.
didn't back down.
In the middle of the night,
So
Erin's
Miller
boyfriend
decided
Charlie
to take
Wilkinson
revenge.
and his friend broke
He
into the
reached
house.
out to his friend,
They shot her mother
Jeremy
and father
Goodale,
in their bed.
and
Then they
together,
stabbed her 2 younger
they planned
brothers,
a murder.
ages 8
The
and
2
13.
teenagers weren't subtle.
After that,
They documented
lit the house
everything
on
on
fire.
Snapchat. Photos, messages, brags. One message read, "Yeah, bro, it's done. We killed her. Lowell." Those messages would later become key evidence. On November 2nd, the boys waited for Graber in the woods. When she appeared on her walk, they ambushed her. Goodale acted as lookout. Miller hid in the bushes, holding a metal baseball bat. When Graber walked by, Miller raised the bat and struck her repeatedly in the head. She collapsed. The 2 boys dragged her body into a wheelbarrow, covered it with a tarp, and dumped her near railroad tracks in a remote corner of the park. Detectives later found her body exactly where the Snapchat messages described.
The plan after that, there wasn't a plan beyond that. Like hide the body, bury the body, save the body. At that time, we were going to hide the body. I guess in our arrogance, we kind of assumed that nobody would ever find her.
During questioning, Jeremy Goodale confessed. This wasn't rage. It was a calculated execution. Both teens were tried as adults. Facing overwhelming evidence, they each pleaded guilty to first-degree murder.
Sorry. Truly sorry. What I've taken can never be replaced.
Accept responsibility for the role that I've played in the murder of Nohima Graber.
Noble Chaden Miller should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years.
A bad grade. That's all it took for 2 16-year-olds to murder someone who had dedicated her life to education. Now, instead of college or careers, Miller and Goodale will spend their youth in prison, thinking about the life they took and the future they lost.